right, welcome back to Gay by Gay. How's everybody doing?
Hello.
Hi.
So, bit of a morbid topic for today, although I'm sure that we're still going to find ways to make terrible, terrible jokes about this.
Yes.
We're talking about death.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite
So,
thing.
I guess realistically, because with our projected upload schedule, it's going to be 3 days a week. So, I guess this is just Death Week.
Yeah, Death Week.
Death Week. All right, so, Aliyah, let's start with you, Gay.
I'm gay.
Death. What are your, I guess starting off, what are your experiences with death?
My experiences with death. So when I was, how old was I in 2013? 7 years ago. 12, maybe? Something.
Can you math? You're
No.
19.
I'm 19. It's 2020. 7 years ago, I was 12. I got it right. See, I got it right. I'm fine.
Checking to make sure that brain cell is still working.
Yes,
Yeah.
Barely. But my grandfather died, and we weren't too close to him. It was kind of that thing of when we were at a family gathering, he would sit in a chair and sleep.
For a split second, I thought you meant that your grandfather had died at the family gathering, and I was like, oh my God, Aliyah, you never told me that.
No, we were, he died of colon cancer, actually. It was very sad, but we weren't really close to him as much, me and my sister.
Yeah. Like, you're kind of, I don't want to say separated from that part of the
Yeah.
family, but you're kind of separated from that part of the family.
All he knew was how to speak Portuguese, and I didn't have a very close relationship. I have a much closer relationship with my grandma, and it's not even that much closer.
Yeah.
Is that your mom's mom?
No.
Okay.
It's
Dad's
my
mom.
dad's
Okay.
mom. And
Or
my
her
dad's
paternal
dad.
grandmother.
Yes.
Yeah. I am smart.
Frat.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes.
So, any other kind of experiences with death?
When I was, a couple years ago, I had my two little bluebirds who died, and that was
Very traumatic for you.
I was very attached to those birds.
Oh my God.
Well, I guess
remember that.
kind of what had
You're
happened
all
from
splaying.
my understanding of the situation was you had gotten...
It was like the breeder, right?
Tiny.
You had gotten one bird from the breeder.
Oh, I want to give details. I had a blue parrotlet, so they're tiny, tiny, tiny birds, and they were the first birds I had ever gotten that were mine specifically. I bought them. I bought their cage. It was awesome. We already had Arya, which is my green cheek conure, but Arya went to go live with MD at the time because we
Your
had
ex-boyfriend,
Yeah,
yeah.
we got her together. So I had gotten my own bird. I got a little blue parrotlet named Tiny. And Tiny was a little baby. And I had Tiny for about a month before we kind of realized that something was going a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
Usually, in my experience with birds, they're very responsive. Tiny was not very responsive. He
never was. Even
No.
from the very
Yeah.
beginning, he was always a little bit slower.
Yeah, and because he was my...
Not like that.
Because he was my second bird, I thought that maybe that was just his personality.
That, or maybe
Yeah.
just part of the
Yeah.
breed where they were just a little bit more relaxed.
Reserved, yeah. But turns out he actually was pretty sick from the moment we got him, and he died a month later.
He died very, very
Fast.
quickly, too. Like, with a lot of those kind of smaller animals. Cats do this, rabbits do
Yeah.
this, birds do this, where because they are natural prey animals, they will oftentimes hide
Yeah.
that they're sick until it is too late to do
Yeah.
anything, and they are hours away from
Yeah.
death at most.
Yeah.
That's just the way prey animals are, right? They don't show weaknesses, otherwise predators are going to pick them
Yeah.
off. So I feel like things move very quickly because I remember we were actually having a party at dance that night, and
The Christmas party, right?
Yeah, I had
one of the
asked you
Christmas
if
ones.
you were coming in, and you would say, "Yep, I'll be there shortly." And then the time had kind of come and gone,
Yeah.
and it was like 25 minutes
Oh, yeah.
after, and I was just like, "Hey, are you coming?" And you had told me, "No, we're having to rush one of
Yeah.
my birds to the vets." And within, I think, like 45 minutes of
Yeah.
that, you were messaging me going, "Abby, I'm not coming. Tiny's gone."
Yeah,
and I was
it
like,
was very,
and I was
very
like, "Oh
sad.
my God."
I loved that bird so much, despite having him for such a short time, and we weren't even that.
You were very attached to him.
Yeah.
You were trying to, hand train
Yeah.
him and everything.
Yeah.
So of course you
My
were
little
bonding with him.
baby,
Yeah.
So
right away, your mom
my mom
tried to do the right
yeah,
thing.
She has a kind heart with
She
these
does.
things, but right after Tiny died, it had only been a month after we got him.
Yeah.
And this bird, I think I paid $180 for him.
Birds
so,
are expensive.
Yeah,
They're
was,
very expensive.
Like
It's
the
not
bird
cheap.
himself?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Birds are expensive.
my
pets.
mom was pissed.
It's a lot of
yeah.
money for a bird that you got that was
Yeah.
already
My
sick.
mom was like, you know what? I'm going to contact the breeder. We're going to get you a new one. And I was like, I don't want a new bird, Mom. My bird just died.
You were still healing. Yeah.
But I kept telling her, I don't want a new bird. I don't want it. I don't want it. A day after Tiny died, my mom picked me up a new bird.
Yeah.
Didn't help that this bird looked exactly like
Spike?
Tiny. Yeah, it was Spike.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Because of course
Tiny.
they were part of the same clutch, right?
Like, yeah, they were.
They were literally like
Very
laid by the same
similar.
mother, same everything.
Yeah.
So
The only difference was that Tiny had black button eyes and Spike had red eyes. But he was
Demon
so
bird.
cute.
Scary,
No,
but
he was
that's
so
scary.
cute. Spike, from the get-go, was a lot more active than Tiny was. He was a lot more people-friendly. So
he was a more outgoing bird in a
Yes.
weird way, but yeah.
Yes, so I fell for him immediately. I was like, you know what? It's going to be better. It's going to be okay. This one's going to stick around. I love this one. Unfortunately, that one ended up passing too in the same way Tiny did.
We're guessing that the entire
Yeah.
clutch must
Yeah,
have been
been-
sick. So
yeah.
we don't even know if it was a bad breeder.
No.
We don't know if it was just that particular
Yeah.
clutch, that particular mother
I
bird.
mean, it
Yeah.
happens, so.
Unfortunately, nature
Yeah,
happens.
it happens, especially with small birds in this kind of climate because
Yeah,
we have winters and
We have very,
Yeah.
very cold, harsh winters up where we live.
yeah.
So, you
And
know,
it was right around Christmas, January area
yeah.
where I'd
it was
gotten
just
them.
very tragic for you losing
Yeah.
two so
And
close
they were
together.
mine.
Yeah.
They were my personal pets, and I've never had a personal pet before. So
Yeah.
that was really hard. But human death, I don't have a lot of
No,
experience with.
I hate to say, but you've been quite
Yeah,
kind of blessed
I've
in a
been,
weird way
yeah.
where you haven't experienced a lot. Like, because the thing is, you have had a bit of a tumultuous life when it comes to having your family members
Yeah.
be sick,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they have not died.
No.
No.
Fortunately not.
Yeah. So, you haven't had that much experience with people death.
No.
How did you deal with the? I feel like everyone has a bit of a different reaction to death. So if I were to ask you, what is your kind of reaction when you have to sit there and think about death? It's a really dark question.
Like, what
But
first comes to your mind?
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
think about death, what do you think about?
I don't think death disturbs me at all. I'm not uncomfortable with death. I love watching mortician videos on YouTube, that kind of information. I think it's kind of cool and kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not scared of it objectively. Like if someone else dies, I can recognize that I believe kind of like their soul is gone and basically they're just organic matter at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I don't
Yeah.
I guess I have some sort of relationship to the idea that like a body even after death is kind of sacred, but I also kind of don't think so in a way too.
Yeah. So in your kind of, just to kind of sum things up, you kind of believe that once the soul is passed on, it's organic material.
Yeah.
And yes, that was the body of a person, but that person
it's
is
not-
not,
it's gone.
there anymore.
They're not there anymore. And I'm not,
It's them, but not them. If that makes sense.
and even for like me dying, I'm not terrified of death at all.
No, you seem fairly, I don't want to say comfortable with it because
I think I'm a little bit comfortable with it. I mean, when I was younger and stuff, it was a little.
you had major depressive episodes when
I
you were
had.
younger because you know, there is quite a bit of trauma in your past to a certain
Yeah.
extent. So I feel like to some extent you are somewhat comfortable with the idea of death in general. But again, I don't want to say that you're like okay with it by any
No, I
stretch of
feel
the
like
imagination.
it's not like I'm gonna be like totally. Oh, it's just a thing of life. It's gonna be accepted. I'm gonna be upset. If I die, I'm not gonna be upset. But
I don't think you have the capacity to
No,
be upset
no.
at that point.
No, I feel like, especially when I was younger, I had a whole bunch of suicidal ideations and all of that. So death was kind
Yeah.
of a comforting thought for me rather than a terrifying thought for me.
It was more of an escape route
Yeah.
Yeah.
than anything else.
I mean, I don't like romanticizing death. I don't think it's something that should be romanticized. But even then, I think I'm more scared of like the traumatic experience death would be on a body before you actually die. You know what I mean?
It's the moments before death that
Yeah.
kind of freak you out the most.
Yes.
Not dying itself.
No.
It's those moments before when you maybe realize what's coming or
Like, you know you're
the
gonna
pain
die.
you experience right before you die or whatever.
And I think some of it has to contribute with like the fact that I am religious and like I don't think that
that was kind of
Death
going to be
is a bad
that
thing.
was going to be my next question
Yeah.
actually. I don't necessarily want to talk specifically about your religion because
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of a personal question
Yeah.
and probably another topic for
Yeah.
another day if we decide to get into that. But when it comes to your religion, does that kind of help you cope with the thought of death? And what do you think about ideas of afterlife? You know, is it a heaven idea? Is it a rebirth idea? Is it, what have you got going on in that noggin of yours?
I'm trying to, I've been trying to figure it out. You see, don't question me on theology. I can talk about it for hours. Because, yes.
It's why we decided to avoid that topic today.
Realistically, I am progressive Christian, so I believe that when I die, I'm going to go with Jesus. I'm going to go to heaven.
I'm going to go
Oh, you think you're going to heaven, huh?
Well, we see.
All
Yes,
right,
that's
Joe
what
gay
I
ass
think.
probably going straight to hell, but all right.
Jesus taking the wheel, man.
Jesus does take the...
Guess who Jesus loves? Okay, so quick side note. This is a bit of an inside joke. Aliyah, you like getting free
I
junk in the mail.
love getting free shit no matter what it is.
So Aliyah got a free sticker.
Yeah.
It's like a bumper sticker. And she
Aliyah doesn't have a car, by the way.
She does not have a car. She just literally got a free bumper sticker. And she ran into our recording space one day with the sticker, and she went, Abby, guess what? And I went, what? And she whips the sticker out, and all the sticker says is, guess who Jesus loves?
Oh, it's me! Oh my
It's me,
gosh!
oh my God.
I loved that thing. That was so funny. That was such a good...
So, yeah, every time we need a good laugh about something, we just ask each other, guess who Jesus loves?
Yeah.
Guess who Jesus loves?
I think especially for me, it's just like, yeah, when I die, I'm not scared of what's going to happen when I die. One, because I don't feel the need to worry about it, because there's no way of me controlling that, realistically.
It's inevitable, right?
I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen when I die, and really... I don't want to say it's none of my business right now what happens when I die, but that's a problem for me, for dead me. That's a problem for dead me.
That's a problem for future me to deal with. Thank you.
Like, I heard this on a show a couple days ago. The only sure thing in life is death.
Yeah.
And it's
very
very
much. It's very much
really,
true.
It's true.
Yeah, nothing is written in stone except for the fact that you will live and you will die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
I don't want to spend my limited time on Earth
Worrying about it.
Yeah.
gonna be super terrified of it, because that's just throwing your time away.
Yeah.
To an extent, I can see that.
There's people who are like that out there, and I feel really bad for them because they probably can't escape that fear.
Yeah, there
So,
are some people who do get quite fixated on it.
I wanna, yeah.
But for, your religion, so you kind of take a little bit of comfort in this idea that for you, whether there's a heaven waiting
There's something
or
more.
there's something
Yeah.
more, something
It's
afterwards.
not just darkness.
So again, you're not afraid of death itself because you feel like there is something afterwards.
Yeah.
It's more for you those final moments
Yeah.
of realizing what's happening and whatever you're experiencing in
Yeah.
the moment. So another dark question for you: if you had to pick,
How I'm gonna die?
what would be the most terrifying way? Like for you, as you said, you're not afraid of death itself.
No.
You're afraid of those moments before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, that must mean that there is something out there that you find the most
Yeah.
horrific possible. What would that be?
I don't like the thought of drowning because I don't know how to swim.
You do not know. I tried to teach Aliyah how to swim. I have tried my hardest, and to this day, she still clings to me like a
I
koala
don't-
bear
I
because
don't-
she's terrified of water.
When
I'm
she
not
tries to
terrified
swim,
of water.
to
I like
swim.
swimming. I just
You drop like a stone.
I like
you sink.
I like
you don't
safe.
swim. You sink.
You
I
look
like
like a
safe
dog
swim.
with like 3 legs.
Yeah, you doggy paddle in like the most
Yeah.
inefficient way
Yeah,
possible.
I do.
so funny.
Oh gosh,
So
I don't like drowning.
So drowning for you would probably be the worst. Just that realization of what's going on, the fact that you can't control it.
I feel like I don't like most methods of death.
I don't think most people do. Pardon me for saying.
Like, I don't like the idea of dying in fire, but like everyone kind of says that. I feel like there's so many horrendous ways to die, but I feel like one of the worst ways to die would be slowly with your family surrounding you.
So, like, do you mean in like a terminal illness sort of way? Kind of like, I hate to say this, but something like ALS
Yeah.
maybe,
I
where
feel like that
you're
would be
kind of
very
locked in your
terrifying.
own mind and there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about it. You're just watching the people around you
Yeah.
suffer and you can't alleviate that and you just need to slowly wait for nature
I
to
would
take its course.
hate that to
Yeah.
happen to me. I always say sometimes, like, I know that it wouldn't be realistic of me to say, but I would always say when I was younger and stuff, if I ever like realized that I had cancer and someone told me that, I'm booking it and I'm dying now. Because I don't want people to go through that.
And, it kind of brings up that question of assisted suicide and everything, which I think is an extremely controversial topic
Yeah.
that maybe we'll discuss another
Yeah.
day. But I definitely feel like it is something that's very hard. And I know for me personally, having watched my dad go through that, it was very difficult watching him struggle. You see this person who is really just a shell of themselves, and you know that they're kind of there, but they're not there
Yeah.
anymore. And in some ways, death would almost be a bit of a release from the hell that you're
And
living through.
It's like when people see an injured animal and they're like, yeah, put it out of its misery.
Put it out, and it's very sad to me that we can do that for animals and we can recognize that in animals, and yet people we just leave to suffer.
Yeah.
But, again, that's kind of another topic for another day. But, no, in general, so death doesn't really scare you.
No.
You're more afraid of the act of dying itself, and anything that's slow and prolonged to you is just horrifying.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst.
That's
I don't
the
like
worst.
that. I don't like that at all.
So as you said, kind of terminal illness, whether it's cancer or something like ALS or, drowning. And I think everyone says drowning and burning.
The slow
or
dying.
the slow deaths.
Yeah.
Slow.
Painful.
And I think that would give anybody kind of the heebie-jeebies to some extent because that's just horrific, that idea of just being trapped in something that you can't control. And I think that's what a lot of it comes down to, is that lack of control.
Yeah.
Scares a lot of people. So that's kind of your idea of death. You haven't had much personal experience. Do you think that that's kind of shaped the way you consider death? Like maybe you don't consider it to be as scary because you haven't seen a lot of it?
I think that. I also think that because there's not a lot of trauma for me around it, it definitely allows me to see it in more of a positive way.
Like, I think some of your close friends and people that you love and know have people that die, so you try to comfort them. Yeah. Well, you try.
It's hard. I'm also bad with death.
Aliyah is notoriously bad. I think we've mentioned before, people often say that I have this ability to just say the right thing at the right time.
Definitely.
If that is true, then the reverse must be true for Aliyah, because she has the innate ability to say exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time in a horrible, horrible way.
Can I tell the story of when you... Okay.
So, no.
Charlie had gone away for a couple days because her grandpa had died. And when she came back in, I saw her and I ran out to her and I was trying to comfort her. And I said, "It's okay, Charles." And Charlie said, "That was my papa's name." Oh, man.
And I immediately start crying more. And she's like looking at me, looks at Abby like, do I do what I did?
As I said, Aliyah, you just have this innate ability. And I remember there was another day. We had a young girl sitting on the floor because her uncle had just passed.
I didn't know.
After suicide, actually. So
I didn't know.
It was very sudden, very unexpected, and very traumatic. And Aliyah walks in, and she sees me comforting this other girl. We'll call her S. Yeah. So I'm sitting on the floor comforting S, and, I had just kind of gotten her to calm down a little bit, and, just deep breathing, trying to make sure she's not hyperventilating. And Aliyah, bless your soul, she tried to make it better, and she looks at S and goes, "Oh, it's okay, right? I mean, it's not like anybody died or anything."
Yeah, I didn't know.
S immediately starts wailing, and I remember just looking up at Aliyah like, how could you do this to me? I just got her calmed down, and you just looked at me with the most horrified expression on your face, and you asked me, "Abby, did somebody die?" And I went, "Yeah, her uncle just passed." You just have this amazing magical ability.
I don't know how you do it, but you do it.
It's like the worst sixth sense possible.
It's just, you just literally, like, I don't know. It's a talent,
like,
let me tell you.
I never even talked about that my grandpa's real name is Charles.
Yeah.
She
just
happened to say the wrong thing at the wrong time to set you off.
It
was so funny. It was funny but sad at the same time because he had just passed away. But I was like,
looking back on it, it's probably funnier now. But at the moment, it was like horrifying.
I'm like, how did you know that?
So, you're not necessarily afraid of death.
No.
You're not necessarily comfortable with it, but ultimately, to you, that's a problem for future you to worry about.
Yeah, dead me can worry about.
Dead me can worry about that later.
I mean, like, we're getting closer to death every single day. So
yeah,
true.
But I haven't started deteriorating yet. I don't like the cells in your body start dying faster than they regenerate once you turn 23.
They haven't been there.
Don't remind me. I just turned 24. Shut up. All right, so that's Aliyah's concept of death.
That's my death story.
Very very limited experience, but very deep think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very deep
think.
Deep thinky.
Deep thinky.
Dead brain, deep
thinky. Okay, so in the next episode, I think we will move over to Charlie next and kind of get her take on all of this.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any experiences, let us know. What is your most horrifying way that you could possibly think of dying? I think we all have one. Yeah, how do you feel about it? Join the conversation. We'd love to know. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Take it gay by gay, guys.
Bye.